Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. We'll go through the papers and check out what is happening in the press in Spain today. We'll also go into the comments section and take a look at what is happening there also. Lots of news around today about the new housing law that was announced the other day by the coalition government here in Spain, the PSOE party, the Socialist Party, and their partner in the government, Podemos. A little bit controversial, as with the majority of new laws in this country. You've got people that are in favour of the new law, of course, and then you've got people that are against the new law. Nothing surprising there, but it happens in Spain a lot. We saw the opposition leader the other day, Pablo Casado, come out and say that he is going to repeal all of the laws that the socialist government has put in place over the last couple of years, and no doubt this is another law that they will repeal if they get the opportunity, if they are elected to government. But we'll talk a little bit more about this new law a little bit later on. Now, another thing that the government announced the other day was that they are going to give a €250 bonus to young people between the ages of 18 and 35 so that they can emancipate and rent their own accommodation. A few people in the comment section said that that age range, 18 to 35, seemed a little bit strange considering that 35 is not necessarily young, and why are people who are 35 needing help to rent a flat? But as we all know, Spain is a little bit different when it comes to emancipation, when it comes to people being able to become independent and move out of the family home. It happens later in this country, and that is why the government obviously set that age bracket 18 to 35. Opposition parties were also against this rent subsidy for young people, saying that it's nothing more than vote buying. And Prime Minister Sanchez announced another sum of money for young people yesterday. Everybody who turns 18 in 2022 will receive a €400 bonus for cultural activities. They'll be able to spend it at the cinema, at the theatre, maybe go to a concert, any type of cultural activity. So it seems that Mr. Sanchez is definitely splashing the cash around, trying to get that youth vote. And I wonder if the botellón will be considered a cultural activity. Time will tell. So a €250 rent allowance for people between the ages of 18 and 35, and everybody who turns 18 in 2022, a €400 check for cultural activities. Now let's go into the press and take a look at what is happening there today, and record electricity prices again dominating headlines. And as we can see here, the price of electricity today breaks records. It costs on average €288 per megawatt hour, and the most expensive hour exceeds €300. The price of electricity marks the third record in a week and rises by €60 in a single day. And this is a topic that has been dominating headlines in Spain since the beginning of September. We were talking about records being broken back then, and we're still talking about records being broken today. So what is going on with the wholesale electricity market in the European Union, and will the Spanish government have to announce a series of new measures in order to tackle the problem? Back into the news, and as we can see, a headline here about the story that we were talking about before, the new housing law, and the real estate sector in Spain is rebelling against the experiment of the housing law for its unfeasible measures. They find it unfair that companies with more than 10 properties are considered large holders. And they also say that we have to create more supply and not change the rules of the game. So the real estate sector in Spain, just one of many sectors not happy with this new law. And as we saw there, they consider it unfair that companies with more than 10 properties are considered large holders. And that's who the government is targeting with this new law. People that have more than 10 properties. And you might be asking yourself, how many companies or people have more than 10 properties? Well, El País has published a map of the big property owners in Spain, and they say that almost 20% are in either Barcelona or Madrid. And if we have a look at the map, we can see exactly where in Spain people have accumulated a lot of property. For example, if we click on Madrid, we can see that there are more than 26,573 people or companies with more than 10 real estate assets. In Barcelona, there are 25,640. In Valencia, there are 16,147. In Alicante, 13,157. And in Murcia, 11,496. And if we compare that to the part of Spain with the least amount of people with 10 or more properties, Teruel, we can see that there are 981 people or companies with more than 10 real estate assets. So in Madrid and Barcelona, more than 25,000 companies or people with more than 10 real estate assets, either flats or houses. And unfortunately, one of the big problems is that a lot of those properties are empty, and that is what the government wants to change. Now, another objective of this new housing law is to make rent prices here in Spain more affordable, especially in the bigger cities here in Spain, Madrid, Valencia, Barcelona, because as we know, rent prices are very, very high, very difficult to find affordable housing to rent in the big cities here in Spain, and that of course is one of the reasons why the government is going to give that 250 euros. This article here caught my attention today, a map of the different average rent prices around the country. And again, if we have a look at some of the average rental prices around the country, we can see that Madrid, clearly the most expensive place in the country, 780 euros the average price for renting here. Barcelona also very expensive. Let's click on that one. 694. Balearic Islands, expensive as well, 624. And even Malaga down here in the south, we'll click on that one, 600 euros the average rental price down there. And if we compare that to some of the cheaper provinces in the country, Castellón, we'll click on that one there, 360 the average price there, Lugo 363, Avila 380, and Ciudad Real 367. So quite expensive to rent a flat in the big cities here in Spain, but cheap as chips if you want to live in a place like Lugo in the north of the country. So we'll see if this new law is able to fix Spain's housing problems. Now let's have a look at a few of the comments. One here from Toots: I, as others, would lose all military benefits if we gave up our US citizenship. Plus, giving up your birth country is not a subject to be so cavalier about. And on another subject, people in their 30s are considered youth. Aren't most married and have children by then? At what age are you considered an adult? Yeah, Toots, thanks for the comment. And as I said earlier, quite a few people said something similar. At what age are people considered an adult? Here in Spain, obviously, 18 to 35, they're still considered young people, haven't emancipated yet a lot of people, and therefore they need help from the government to do so. Not everybody, of course, but obviously enough to warrant the government setting that age limit from 18 to 35. And on the subject of at what age do people get married and have children here in Spain, I don't know what the exact figures are on that, but all I know is that every year it seems to get pushed back later and later, and people are having children late into their 30s, which is becoming more and more common nowadays. And on the other topic that you mentioned there, citizenship, you're right, a lot of people don't want to give up their citizenship if they come from the US, if they come from the UK, if they come from Australia. That would be my case. If I decided to apply for Spanish nationality, I would have to renounce my Australian citizenship because Spain doesn't recognise both citizenships. And would I be willing to do that? No. One here from Anna: the problem of emancipation has more to do with the inability to get a mortgage because of temporary contracts. The whole contract system needs reform. Yana, thanks for the comment, and you're right, that is another big problem that we have here in Spain, temporary work contracts. A lot of people can't get their hands on a permanent contract, and of course a lot of banks are not going to give people money if they don't have one of those contracts. I remember when I first started working in this country as an English teacher, I was on that temporary contract system. It's absolute rubbish. You go from yearly contract to yearly contract to yearly contract, and it's very hard to get any stability, and that's one of the reasons why I became self-employed. And for a lot of other young people in this country, they're also in the same boat. They can't get a permanent contract, and it's very frustrating for a lot of people. It seems to be something that no government here in Spain is able to fix. The PP government wasn't able to fix it. The current government hasn't been able to fix the problem, and the problem still exists. And as we all know, Spain has a two-tier labour system with people up here on very, very good contracts, watertight contracts, get paid a lot of money if they get fired, and then the rest of the population down here, the majority of the population, have rubbish contracts that are renewed on a yearly basis a lot of the times. And that, as you say, is definitely something that needs reform. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.